break.
Welcome to the most must-see YouTube channel on YouTube. Alongside D Money, this is ESN Entertainment Sports Network. Tonight we are going to be reviewing Better Call Saul episode 4, season 3, and what an episode it was. What's going on, D Money?
Oh, by far, I would say the best episode ever of Better Call Saul. But I mean, the episode had me at the edge of my feet. I mean, throughout the whole episode, I mean, you got so much going on. You got so many questions that need answers. You got puzzle pieces scattered all over the place here. And that's what Gilligan's basically doing. You know, the episode starts off with, you know, Don meeting
Leandro.
Yeah. So Don's basically having his meeting, and Hector to his house. They're in the backyard by the pool where they usually are, where they hold their meetings. If you guys watch Breaking Bad, of course you would see. And Hector just throws like these hundreds all rolled up, and it's kind of sloppy, and it didn't look like that much. Well, at first you were like, wow, you know, it's a lot of money. But when Juan steps into the scene, just drops this big brick of 100 stacked, 3 pile large. I mean, you're like, whoa. And now a feud kind of establishes right there. Takes the viewer away from the whole thing with Jimmy and kind of puts the viewer into another world, you know, the world of Breaking Bad and the world of, you know, these Mexican drug leaders and cartel. I mean, so tell them a little bit there.
Yeah, well, this week's episode of Better Call Saul, which he just beautifully told everyone, it starts off looking with Don Eliando. I don't know how to pronounce his name. You do it better. Where Hector Salamanca shows up to drop off some money. He's bested by the man Bulusa. I don't know who that guy. That's the guy that delivered the money, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, you finally got his name. Like,
got
his name for the longest time.
Bulusa. Whatever. Don Eliando convinces Hector that they're all friends, but he doesn't look like he's buying it. Hector. His appearance, Los Pollos Hermanos, where he scares off the customers and essentially holds the employees hostage until Fring comes back. Let's elaborate on that scene. That was a very vital scene. The episode.
Yeah, and it took place like very towards the middle of the episode. So you got this whole conversation going on now. Basically, prior to Gus and the employees, you have Hector. Hector just basically out of nowhere comes into the restaurant and starts a scene and basically lights a cigar next to a sign where it says no smoke. Basically disrespects this whole establishment that he has. And we all know that Los Hermanos is a front. It's not, it's a restaurant. I mean, people go to there, eat, it's like KFC. I mean, but it's a front. It's really, it's
not where he makes his money out of. That's
yeah. Because, you know, from Breaking Bad, you know, from this season of Better Call Saul, it's how meth gets transported on the same trucks as the food's coming on. So it's a great idea on how to move drugs. But Gus gets into a feud with Hector, and Hector is basically just disrespecting him and just making a scene, and he's doing it on purpose, you know, in spite of Gus at this point, and throws himself onto Gus's chair in his office, like, you know, and starts picking off like the gum or scum, whatever it is on the bottom of his shoe. Yeah, I don't even know what it was. It was like white, sticking at it, and he's tossing it. You know, so that's what
you didn't mention. You didn't mention the 2 henchmen that he had with him.
Oh yeah, I mean, he had 3 guys surrounding the store. I mean, at each entrance and exit, I mean, you have these 3 guys. They're just in like ponytails, leather jackets. I mean, from the looks of them, you could tell they're like drug, shady, you know, criminal type characters.
Like, no, because one of the henchmen stood up and was like moving with the lady that was trying to leave out the door. He's like, no. So they didn't want to present that they were trying to, I guess, I don't know, make like a ransom or hijack the restaurant.
Like,
but,
it was like a heist or, but
right. So
you think something can happen, like guns are going to be drawn out and people are going to be held hostage. Like you get that feeling, and Gilligan like creates and establishes that feel right there. It's like a very dark, intense feeling when, you know, Hector's doing this, and like you're drawn into that.
Yep.
And that's where the whole feud with Gus and Hector really is sparked. I mean, you see it early on in the beginning before the credits, but this is when it's really established at this point. You know, and this is all before, like, you even figure out what's going on with Jimmy. Like, you want to know what's happening with Jimmy because the episode prior to this, you have a big, big feud with Chuck and Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy basically breaks into his house.
Jimmy hasn't been in the episode for about, what, 20 to 30 minutes before we see Jimmy, right? Well, so, all right. Yeah. Gus comes to Los Hermanos, and he has a little chat with Hector, which doesn't bode well for Fring. But he leaves, and he has like a smile on his face. So look out for that. We know what happens between those two. We know the final ending if you've watched Breaking Bad. So the next day, he offers his employees 24 hours of overtime pay for what they've endured from Hector and his boys. So they don't want to make it seem like this place is suspicious where they work. They don't want to get everybody else knowing about, oh, there was a guy and 3 other men, whatever, threatening this establishment that I work for.
Well, that was a huge scene when you have Gus delivering that speech to his employees. I mean, at that point, you as the viewer are like, through their perspective, how are you interpreting this speech? Are you actually going to believe what Gus is saying, and how clever Gus is, and how, you know, ingenious he is at doing what he does and carrying out his business? Yes, you are going to believe it. I mean, he delivers a speech that the damn fucking president, for God's sake, you know, genius.
He has the power of persuasion, you know. Gus has the power of persuasion. So we get the Mike storyline. Starts off at abandoned stakeout. His granddaughter wants him to come visit, so he goes over for dinner. It's not even it's not a very eventful scene, you know, but it's nice to see him with his family again. His next scene is sort of one where he tosses money from Victor that we've known from Breaking Bad, another character that pops up, and he tosses money he got from Fring back to Victor, and he's like, "No, I don't want that shit."
That draws a question to the viewer, because at that point you're saying, why is he giving the money back? What is this even pertaining to? You know, it's just like another puzzle piece that Gilligan's dropping off to the viewer, like, what's going on here? And it picks up, and we'll get to that later in the show, folks, on why that's occurring and why Mike's giving money. You know, what's going on and why is this going on? You know what I mean? And other things that are happening. You know, when Jimmy's first introduced in the show, you have Kim sitting there on the desk. She's cold calling, and she's just calling random businesses, and you're saying, why is she doing this? In reference to an appointment Chuck had for a door, because in the following episode, Jimmy breaks through Chuck's house and knocks the door down. Go right ahead, Dave.
So we don't see Kim and Jimmy until halfway through the episode, which I previously mentioned. Considering the show is based around Jimmy, it's amazing how they can make it without him at times, you know. So Kim finds out an appointment, which you just were mentioning, Chuck has for repairs. She cancels the appointment, and Jimmy sends Mike instead. The scene between Mike and Chuck shows just how convincing Mike is when faking jobs. He's been doing it all throughout Breaking Bad, and this is, I guess, the inception of where he gets hired by Gus.
Folks, I keep saying puzzle. You know, go to season 3, episode 2, when you have the introduction to the twins. I think the twins are introduced maybe as an episode or 2 prior, but you have the twins entering the nursing home where Hector is. A piece of a puzzle that someone in the nursing home where Hector is at that time falls on the floor as these twins are walking in. Funny that these are the same characters being introduced again into Better Call Saul. And what Vince Gilligan's doing is he's dropping little puzzle pieces out to the viewer as questions as to what's going to happen. Why is Mike now in Jimmy's house taking these pictures? For why is he pretending like he's fixing the door at first? Because that's another thing. Like, why is he in the house? You know, he's got to fix the door, you know, to get anywhere with Chuck. Why is he pretending at first?
So he snuck a disposable camera to grab some photos for Jimmy, which then he delivers to the diner, or mention extra information.
Exactly. We don't know.
So
we don't.
You don't know. You don't know.
But we know. It's all going to build up to one big answer, and that answer might be the next episode. You might have to wait till the episode after that. You might have to wait till the next season to get these questions answered. But eventually, they will be answered. Vince Gilligan does do that. Watch, if you guys are Breaking Bad fans, I'm sure if you guys watch Better Call Saul, 99.9% of you are gonna be fans of Breaking Bad as well. So you know what I'm trying to get out of here. You know exactly.
Vince Gilligan is the cream of the crop when it comes to writing. So Gus makes a visit to Mike at the parking lot to question why he gave the money back. Gus wants Mike to consider working for him in the future, and Mike says it depends. Gus wants Mike to consider working for him in the future, and Mike says it depends. In this instant, Mike is loyal without needing to be loyal to just a single person. He can work for whoever he wants without much worry. Let the awkwardness ensue, right? When Chuck, Jimmy, Howard, and Kim all end up in the same room together, they go over Jimmy's statement, and Kara Hay, the officer of the court, apparently, who is present, makes him apologize to Chuck, sort of like belittling Jimmy a little bit. And Chuck confesses to Kim afterwards that there's another copy of the tape, the original, arrogant as ever towards Kim. However, it would appear that Kim and Jimmy have the upper hand after the conversation. So dive into that little awkwardness.
Well, I would say that's the third puzzle piece. We already mentioned Hector, we already mentioned Mike, and now this whole thing with Jimmy and Chuck. Puzzle piece number 3, and us as the audience have to put it together, finalize it eventually. But that is the third piece, and we're, as the audience, asking ourselves, well, why did she even have that conversation with Chuck and Howard after the whole intervention, arbitration, and the little meeting that they had? Why was that conversation held, and why, after walking out, leading to the credits, was bingo, boom. And so obviously it's a little thing that Jimmy and Kim got working out there, so it's something that could either hurt Jimmy or something that's actually going to help him in the end, maybe help him beat this whole thing with Chuck. But don't forget, Chuck's putting Jimmy in a situation where he's going to get disbarred. That's how Jimmy later becomes who?
Better Call Saul.
Exactly. So we don't know if that's going to happen next episode, 2 episodes, maybe like that believes a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think it'll be the season 3. I believe that has to be the cliffhanger. We need to have somewhere. At the end of the conversation, it was the bingo that you just mentioned, and it was like they were confident as ever. And in the episode, they always leave the cliffhanger. You know you love a show when you just anticipate the next episode, which we both are. Overall, I think this episode might be one of the best in the series. You said it was
by far the best. Yeah, by far the best that I've seen. I would say in the top 5 from Breaking Bad into Better Call Saul, because it had me like strapped in throughout. Like a 45-minute show felt like 5 minutes of pure entertainment.
Yep. And the showdown between Jimmy and Chuck is starting to heat up, and we're seeing a lot more of Gus Fring already. And who wouldn't want that? Gus Fring is one of the best characters in all of TV history, I think. One of the best villains ever.
He's a great actor, and he plays and carries this role out tremendously throughout Breaking Bad and into Better Call Saul. Let's say probably a 9.7. I never give anything perfection. It's not something. I just think nothing's perfect. Probably 9.6, 9.7.
Wow.
Easily.
I'll give it a 9.5. I'll be around the same area as you. I thought it was an excellent episode. It got everybody intrigued. And
someone who's not really drawn to the show, if you watch a few episodes of Breaking Bad, or if you've seen Breaking Bad and see this episode, you definitely want to, further, engage
absolutely
with the show easily, just to figure out how Jimmy becomes Saul Goodman.
Well, that will be our episode. It was short, sweet. We will be back with our next review. Actually, at the end of episode 5, we will be right back here. It is new. It is our first time together on the podcast. We will be on top of the game. We talk about more than just Better Call Saul.
We're ESN, and we're a movement, and we're starting this up for a wide range audience, for people who like entertainment, news, sports. We even do news, you know, any type of global, nationwide news coverage, NBA to MLB to NFL, into Better Call Saul, you know, movies, you name it. Give us your guys' take, and we'll put it out there for you. ESN, Entertainment Sports News. It's a movement that we're establishing for you guys out there, and we want to hear your feedback.
We got Instagram set up. We'll try to get followers.
And give us feedback, please. We want feedback. What we can
much better. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell us what you think of this show tonight. Tell us what you think of Better Call Saul. We'll be doing our movie top 5 picks of all time pretty soon. We'll be doing best TV shows, all this stuff that you can engage yourself in discussion. Guys, this has been real. We will be back next week with our Better Call Saul. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. We won't tell you which yet. But guys, thank you so much. This has been real. Devatron out.
And the money. Peace.
Break.